Hello everyone and welcome to the 2025 Ford Ranger Raptor. This is the latest iteration of what I think is maybe the most successful sub-brand in the automotive industry. People know what Raptor is. It's the fully off-road capable, little bit nuts subdivision of some of Ford's products, and the Ranger Raptor, first time available here in North America, is introducing all of the same capability that we know Raptors can have, but this has a little bit of a distinct personality, and I do think Ford is managing their product line so that each of them has its own real reason to exist. It's not just some work put on different sizes of products. You've got the F-150 Raptor, which is like the Desert Stormer, the one for big speeds, long distances you can see ahead, where you just need to cover the most amount of ground in the least amount of time. The Bronco Raptor is all about rock crawling. It's all about super technical driving. It's got huge 37-inch tires and it's got immense wheel travel. This, though, given that it's a fair bit smaller for those products in terms of width and not invading as much road space as a light-duty pickup truck does, it feels like it's a little more mature, a little more conventional. But taking it off-road, what I've come to feel is a little bit of a back trail brawler. It's the one you're taking down the pass where the Bronco Raptor, with its 8 feet wide extensions over the wheel arches, just can't go down, or an F-150, just because it is so big, couldn't make its way without scratching its paint all the way along the trees and shrubbery. So the off-road character of this Ranger Raptor really has its place, but what surprised me most is its day-to-day driving convention, really. The Bronco Raptor was hilarious because it had those 37-inch tires, soft suspension in its road mode, and what it meant was you could just tap on the brakes a little bit for the sake of entertainment, and it would be like being in a rocking chair. You had that motion back and forth that was hilarious. It probably looked a bit strange from the outside, and your passengers would quickly grow tired of it, but it was hilarious. It was always a joy in day-to-day driving, whilst this, it's not as balls-to-the-wall crazy. It's much more tame, but what it means is that everyday driving is immensely comfortable. We've got 33-inch tires on this product, a good suspension lift with adaptive dampers from Fox, and it feels like the ride on just kind of cruising speeds I'm at now has this nice swinging motion to it. Every little rut is just nicely brought down, brought back up, and going over chunky pavement, broken up bits of road. Yes, it reminds you that it is a truck. It's never going to get over its live rear axle problem, but it's perfectly acceptable for your day-to-day commute, and it feels very tightly bound. The steering has a good amount of weight to it, even in its comfort mode. It kind of feels like a Mazda from behind the wheel. It feels like you have to put some effort in, and when you're off-roading, although you might not get the road feel that you may look for, you always know exactly where the front tires are. It's never once pointed me in a direction I think it shouldn't be going. Of course, going off-road and you've got this longer wheelbase over something like a Bronco Raptor, it feels like when you swing the rear end out, it's holding that transition for longer. You can play with that threshold a little bit more, so finding its limits are not as rapidly approaching. It doesn't feel as scary, and it's got very similar powertrain componentry to the Bronco Raptor. So 3-litre twin turbocharged V6. Here it has 405 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque, a little bit less than the Bronco Raptor, but still more than enough. Maybe the only letdown on its engine character is that I find the sound is a bit monotone. It holds the same note, and as you go up through the rev range, it's just getting louder. The sound doesn't change, only its fierceness on your eardrums. From the outside, it definitely sounds a lot better. You can hear those turbos disengage a fair bit more, and it's not a letdown, it's not a disappointment, it's just that raucousness, I suppose, of the same engine in the Bronco Raptor just isn't carried on in here. But this makes it a much more livable product, of course. The 10-speed transmission is the same unit we've known for a few years now across Ford and GM products. Here, I love using the aluminium shifters. They don't have the same texturing at the back like the Bronco or the F-150 did, but they still feel great cold in the mornings, and they really do respond quite well in instances where you are downshifting. It hasn't really let me down. There has been a couple moments though in this product, and I've experienced it in others, that it feels in the mornings when it's cold it can be a bit clunky. Again, I've experienced this a fair few times, so it's something that is consistent across the board, and once you drive for 5-10 minutes, all of that drama has gone away. Here, just listen to some of these clicks. I think that's pretty damn good for a 10-speed. I like using this transmission as well. When you're off-road and you need to be constantly going up and down, gears 2, 3, 4, they feel right. It isn't until you get to maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 that there's no point in shifting around those cogs yourself. You don't have body panels and roof elements that can be detached, so being in here, it's a hell of a lot more solid than the Bronco Raptor, and great visibility all around. This now leads me into the cabin to say that this is a major improvement over the last Ford Ranger. I really wasn't a fan of that product at all. I'll talk about that maybe a little bit later in the video. But I'll say that being in here, the way that my body is positioned here in these super comfortable seats is excellent. There's nice squidgy foam here on where you'd rest your elbows. Here at the top, it's got that waterproof material, so easy to wipe down. And the ergonomics, for the most part, are pretty good. Good amount of storage here in the center console. I like having the double glove box space. There's only 2 real letdowns I have with this product, and they both pertain to the cabin. One of them is the touchscreen. Here in the Ranger Raptor, you can only have it with this 12-inch screen, and it hasn't been the most consistent touchscreen I've used in a Ford product recently. It's sometimes slow, it's sometimes lagging, sometimes I have to double press buttons for stuff to show up. It's not great. Yes, of course, you do have to deal with the climate control buttons on the touchscreen and physical. Great to have them physical. Wish there was a physical button for the zones, because that's the mode I'm probably changing more than anything else. So that's a little bit of an inconvenience, but not enough for me to really get panicked about. The second big flaw I find with the cabin is the rear seats. Space overall, not too bad as a 6'4" guy, not really sitting behind myself with comfort, but I can make do if needs must. The big disappointment is that the seat base all lift up as one unit. So I really wish it could be split into multiple parts like so many other trucks do. It couldn't have been that difficult to do it differently, and it takes away some variability for the way that you could load stuff into this cabin if you wanted to keep it secure. Yes, the space below isn't that cavernous, but I feel like more could be done in that area. The footwell to me feels slightly awkward in the way that I've got a very wide dead pedal space that I can move my left foot about as much as I like, but I can't get my foot between the dead pedal and the brake so I can extend my legs out. And as a tall guy, that's really the only reason why I don't look at mid-size pickup trucks. I want a truck to have that 90-degree knee angle so I can sit like I'm sitting in a chair, and I can cover so much greater distances driving because I feel so much more at ease. With this, it's the closest I've felt, I'd say, in any mid-sized truck I've tested. It's still not quite there. Could I live with it? Of course, but for me personally, and maybe other tall people out here can relate, if it's not the biggest version of something, then I'm not going to take it at all. And like I said, that's how I currently view all mid-size pickups. So to conclude this video, I can very happily report that the Ranger Raptor is all the entertainment that you'd hope to receive out of any other Raptor product. It comes at a little more affordable of a price point and really doesn't offer any meaningful downsides compared to a normal Ranger. Yes, you're going to consume more fuel. Yes, it's more expensive. But in the grand scheme of things, that's just occupational hazards for this product. You know what you're getting into. It's within the scope of reasonable understanding. And I love being in this product. I love driving it day to day. It feels luxurious because of its ride. It feels special because every time you look at it, it's just mad. I want to have some fun with it. And it offers all of the comfort and amenities that you'd want out of your day-to-day commuter. So another big win for Ford, I think. And I think this is a major step up over the previous generation product that I wasn't particularly kind to. I didn't like that 2019 Ranger, largely because when it came to market here in North America, it had been on sale for a fair few years in the European, Asian, and Australian markets, and it felt old from day one. I know Ford changed around a few things to get it more acceptable to the North American buyer, but it felt, even in that state, a little bit of a half-assed effort. But this is Ford putting its best people towards a job, towards a product that I think they love as well. So in that respect, I have to congratulate Ford on this vehicle. I think they have done an excellent job. And if my major gripes are a little slow touchscreen and wanting a little more practicality for the rear seats, I think they've done a stellar job here. So thank you very much for taking the time to watching this video, and I hope to see you again on the channel soon.